Welcome back to Daily Flash. A major shakeup is happening in the music world that could change the way artists get paid for streaming their work. If you think there's a lot of money for streams, take a look at these numbers. For an artist like Rihanna to make $2 million off streaming her music on sites like Spotify, a song must be streamed more than 500 million times. Each time a song is streamed, she makes less than a half of a cent. Joining us to talk about a change in streaming income is media mogul and managing director of Strat America's Seth Schachner. Seth, welcome to Daily Flash.
Great to be here. Good morning.
Talk to me, Seth. How is the streaming industry being shaken up?
So this has been a tough situation for quite some time. Just what we call artist compensation, basically the back end, the royalty pool. And I was pretty involved with this, setting this up for Sony Music many years ago. And I don't think we anticipated now that there'd be so much music available, that there'd be so many ways to get your music up on Spotify. So what's happened over the last decade or so is just that, yeah, to your point with Rihanna and many other artists, it's a little tiny fraction of a penny of a stream. It's calculated against a big pie that includes everything from her to Tchaikovsky, basically. And I think the biggest music label in the world now, Universal, has got something that's called an artist-centric model. And the idea is to not only change artist compensation for the better, but to kind of fight back against kind of everything from white noise to all this crazy AI music that's out there. You can literally put the sound of a washing machine up on Spotify and it gets the same stream as it does a Michael Jackson track. So there's some pretty absurd things that need to be changed. And at a top level, that's sort of what this is all about.
And what does this mean for lesser known artists? Because really they're the ones struggling to try and get some slice of the pie, as you had mentioned, some slice of the spotlight.
Yeah. So no one's going to be happy with any of this, right? There's going to be people that are, going to have issues on both sides of it. I mean, what Universal's doing, and they're doing it with kind of a small, more so European-focused streaming service called Deezer, that I would say, in my opinion, they probably have a little bit of a closer relationship with because they're both have a lot of roots in France and Europe, basically. But the idea is to weight streams from artists that I believe would have more than just 1,000 plays, if you will, more than just any other stream. So it'll be 2 times more than the washing machine, the sound. But if someone, I believe, actually actively seeks out something, so they literally pull out, whether it's an old, Tom Petty track or, a brand new track from the weekend, I believe that's going to get a weighting of 4 times. So the idea is to kind of emphasize stuff that's real and also sort of promoting developing artists, discovering artists as well, as opposed to kind of all the white noise that's on the service. And I think it's a reasonably positive step. And this is a small service, Deezer. This is just a couple of percentage points in the market. So at some point they'll take this to the big gorilla, to Spotify and try and do the same thing.
For someone like Rihanna, how does this increase her digital footprint even more?
Well, so the thing is, the stuff that's never in the press is, every artist has got their own little different deal, their own big deal, their own individual set of circumstances. So, I'm not going to name specific artists, but just say you're an artist that took a big whopping advance check, whether it's to make an album or help you with marketing or make a video from your record label, you're going to have to earn that back. So with those numbers you just showed at the top of this conversation, you may not ever earn it back, or it may take a long time. But in theory, I think it should boost the streaming income, for all the artists that are above 1,000 streams, for sure. Yeah.
And so far this is happening in France. What do you think the chances are that the U.S. will adopt it here?
Well, I think they're going to do it wherever Deezer is, and that's a really good question. But I think what Universal's trying to do, there's a whole set of challenges they and all the other rights holders are facing right now. And streaming income is definitely a big consideration. So I expect they'll try and do this with, everyone from Amazon to Spotify to Apple Music to YouTube to all the others over time. And I think that'll be a positive thing. I think, the other stuff that's happening, a little bit off topic, but there's just been this explosion of kind of AI-oriented music as well. And just, you can randomly put anything up on Spotify or some of these services. So I think part of the idea is to kind of get that stuff cleaned up and pushed down, because I don't know if that helps anyone. If you're weighting a Radiohead song, right, the same amount as you are just white noise, So I think that needs to get fixed basically, and I expect that'll happen across sort of the whole music streaming ecosystem.
And let me get your take on that, because right now artificial intelligence is the big focus of the writers and the actors strike and the producer strike. What are the sources of concern for artists? I mean, you've mentioned a number of them, but clearly this is affecting all across the board when it comes to performance arts.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've been at a number of events recently around the music industry conferences, and I think I can sort of speak a little bit collectively. It's very early for music with AI, and I don't know. I mean, it's certainly a threat. For on some levels, if you think about all the fake break tracks, the weekend tracks, the things that have been out there, but there's actually a lot of positive stuff around AI that is quiet under the radar that producers, songwriters, engineers, everyone in the studio uses, and it helps people in different ways. So it's a mixed set of circumstances. I mean, there's clearly apprehension. I don't get the same sense it's as hot in say music as it is in Hollywood and TV right now. I'm also still a believer that robots and robotic music aren't going to replace our best artists. So I think the temperature is a little bit, cooler than sort of the Hollywood situation. But these industries need sort of some type of copyright law or legislative solution in DC to happen, because I think it's going to be very hard to move forward unless someone says, look, has a clear position around copyrights and AI, which isn't the case right now.
Yeah, it's definitely a longer conversation. Seth, great to chat with you. How can people find you on social media?
Well, you can get me on LinkedIn. It's just Seth Schachner, or I'm also at www.stratamericas.com and all the other platforms as well. Happy to connect.
Seth, thank you so much. For more information on the shakeup in the music industry, head to our website, dailyflashshow.com.